Okay, let's unpack this. Today, we're diving deep into a story that's, well, often missed in the history books.
We are. We're looking at the American women who served in the Vietnam War.
Right. And our mission, really, using our sources, is to understand their experiences, the transformations, the quiet battles they faced.
Both overseas and, crucially, when they came back home, often to a country that just wasn't ready to hear about it.
Exactly.
And what's really interesting here is how this challenges that old myth,
Which myth is that?
the idea that there were no women in Vietnam, which is just completely wrong.
Completely. So we're using one particular story.
Yes, through the eyes of an Army nurse, Frankie McGrath. Her journey lets us connect all these threads.
It's like
Patriotic ideals, meeting the brutal reality of war, the personal struggle coming home, and then that journey towards healing and even advocacy. It makes you ask, really, what does it mean to serve? And maybe more importantly, who gets to define what heroism looks like?
That's a powerful question. And Frankie's story, it really starts in a specific place, doesn't it? Coronado Island.
Right. A world with clear social lines. Her mom was from the Newport Beach Alexanders, established family.
And her dad.
He'd climbed his way up, as the source puts it, so status mattered.
And Frankie was raised with pretty traditional expectations for a young woman back then.
Definitely. Talk of getting an MRS degree.
Right.
Marrying well.
Exactly. Even choosing nursing. It was seen as safe, conventional, a way to make her parents proud, not really a career ambition in itself.
But there was also this strong military background in the family.
Oh, absolutely. A whole hero's wall in their house.
Wow.
Yeah, framed medals, photos of great-grandfather McGrath, Grandpa Francis. Military service was deeply ingrained, especially for the men.
So when her brother Finley deployed, it was a big deal.
Huge. A lavish send-off. Impeccable, the source says. Dom Perignon, toasts.
Like he was off on some grand adventure.
Precisely. And his letters reinforced that, didn't they? Yeah. Descriptions of parties at the O Club, the Officers Club.
Saigon rooftop bars, even celebrities visiting. It sounds almost glamorous in a way.
A very different picture than what Frankie would find.
Totally different.
Huh.
And Finley's deployment was the catalyst for her.
She decided pretty quickly to join the Army Nurse Corps, the ANC.
Right. Specifically wanting to be sent to Vietnam to be near him.
Seeing it as her way to contribute, to make her parents proud, like the men in the family.
Exactly. Especially her father, who'd talked about wanting to serve.
But her parents' reaction wasn't what she expected at all.
No, it was immediate opposition. Her mother's first thought was, good Lord, what will we tell people?
Oof. And her father.
He questioned it too. Sweet Jesus, Frankie. There's a reason for rules like that. Meaning, women shouldn't be there.
So immediate shame attached to her decision, such a contrast to how Finley was treated.
It really highlights the societal double standard, doesn't it?
Absolutely. What does that initial reaction tell us about the hurdles these women faced even before setting foot in Vietnam?
Well, it shows that the battle started at home. For men, service was expected, lauded. For women, it challenged everything about gender roles.
So there was this inherent conflict from the start. Patriotism versus societal disapproval.
Exactly. And that early feeling of shame, it likely played a big part in Frankie's later struggles. It reflects how hard it was for society to accept women in these non-traditional roles.
And then tragedy hits. Finley dies.
Yes. The news arrives starkly.
Oh, yeah.
Pains.
Awful.
Frankie felt sick to her stomach. Remembered his promise to their mother. I'll come home, I promise.
And that loss, it solidified her resolve.
It seemed so. She felt she had no choice then. She had to go.
So she gets to Vietnam, and the reality is immediate and harsh.
Brutal. Nothing like Finley's letters or her own, maybe naive ideas.
What hit her first?
The physical environment. Thick mud. Seeing nurses in full white uniforms trying desperately to stay clean.
Impossible, I imagine.
Pretty much. And then the warning right away. Charlie loves to kill officers.
A chilling welcome.
In her quarters. Basic doesn't even cover it. A rust-stained sink and toilet. The crucial advice. Never drink the water.
And she got sick immediately.
Yep, severe diarrhea. Plus, huge rats in the hooches. It was a complete immersion into danger and deprivation.
And her nursing experience, the real baptism by fire, came quickly.
With her first mass casualty event in the ER.
The descriptions are intense.
Incredibly vivid. One man screaming, his own severed leg on his chest. Another with no legs, uniform soaked in blood.
Faces smoking from burns, gaping chest wounds, even seeing a broken rib sticking out.
Just unimaginable chaos.
Yeah.
And in the middle of it, this other nurse, Ethel,
How was she described?
like an Amazon goddess just directing traffic, seemingly
Well,
unaffected.
while Frankie felt.
Overwhelmed, ashamed even, questioning how she ever thought she belonged there.
And that realization, the shift in perspective.
Huge. Back in the world, they were patients. Here they were casualties.
That's a profound psychological shift, isn't it? Necessary for survival, maybe, but with long-term costs.
Absolutely. A kind of dissociation required just to function.
But that kind of shared hell, it must forge incredibly strong bonds.
Instantly. Like with her roommates, Ethel and Barb.
Ethel, the pragmatic one.
Yeah. Gave advice like, men lie and they die.
Hmm.
Her philosophy is basically live and let live, whatever gets you through the night.
And part of getting through was the O Club.
Definitely.
Hmm.
Described as a dark, seedy bar. But it was crucial.
A release valve.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
People might still have blood in their hair, but they needed to blow off some steam. Soldiers, nurses, everyone together.
How did that environment shape friendships differently than back home?
Well, the stakes are just infinitely higher, right? Shared risk, shared trauma. It creates an intensity, a reliance on each other that's hard to understand otherwise.
They were just friends. They were lifelines.
Precisely. Bonds forged in fire, literally. And those connections often last because they were formed under such extreme pressure.
And Frankie formed a particularly close bond with Jamie, another nurse.
Yes, an OR nurse. They shared that intense emotional burden. He helped her cope, told her, "No fear, McGrath, you can do this."
But that ended badly, too.
It did. The crushing discovery that he was married.
And then he died.
Yes, another loss. Frankie put a small stone, one that said, "You fight," into his duffel bag, whispered, "I love you, Jamie." Just heartbreaking.
It seems loss was just
A
constant.
revolving door. Barb, her roommate, eventually left her Dieros, date estimated return from overseas.
That feeling of so tired of goodbyes.
Exactly. This constant churn of people arriving, bonding, then leaving.
Yeah.
It's emotionally exhausting.
And Barb had her own struggles later.
Yes, the source mentions she also dealt with the death of her brother. It underlines that shared burden of grief these veterans carried, long after leaving Vietnam.
Beyond the hospital, Frankie saw another aspect of the war.
Through the Medicap's medical civic action programs, taking medical care to local villages.
But even that wasn't straightforward.
No. It was unsettling. Threats of snipers, seeing the burn scars on the land, the fortifications, hearing explosions in the distance.
And Agent Orange.
Yes. Seeing leaves turned orange by it, the environmental damage was visible.
And she encountered a specific child.
May. A young orphan girl, badly scarred from a bombing, probably all alone in the world.
That must have hit hard.
It was a turning point. Frankie realized war was one thing. Bombing villages full of women and children was something else.
And the official silence around it.
Yes. Nothing in the Stars and Stripes, the military newspaper. She started asking, why aren't they reporting that truth? And the really chilling thought, the village was in South Vietnam, and only the Americans had bombs.
Wow. That's a heavy realization. Deep disillusionment setting in.
Absolutely. A moral crisis, really. Holding this truth that contradicted everything she was supposed to believe.
And then letters from home arrive, adding another layer of confusion.
Totally. Her mother writing about things happening back in the States.
Like war protests.
Yeah, burning draft cards and women burning their bras, race riots. Things Frankie wasn't seeing, reported where she was.
And even more disturbing things.
Reports from an international war crimes tribunal accusing the U.S. of bombing civilian target schools, even a leper colony.
So the disconnect between the official narrative in Vietnam and the news from home just grew wider.
Exactly. Deepening her doubts about the war, about what was really happening.
Coming home. That's often described as another kind of battle.
For many, yes. Frankie had a brief R&R trip to Kauai first, though.
A bit of escape.
A fleeting one. She ran into Rye Walsh there, Finley's friend from the Naval Academy. A flicker of hope, maybe?
And Barb gave her some practical advice.
Very Barb. Humorous but blunt advice for a single Catholic schoolgirl thinking about intimacy. Shave your legs, wear sexy lingerie, be bold, and don't believe him if he says he loves you.
Huh. And Rye said something significant.
He told her, "I swear I'm not engaged." Which sounds promising, but, well, it sets up a later betrayal.
So the R&R ends, and she returns to the U.S., and the homecoming is...
Awful. Brutal,
Yeah.
really. Exactly what many veterans, especially women, faced.
What happened at the airport?
She was spat at, called a Nazi bitch by protesters.
God, such a contrast to the hero's welcome Finley got.
Worlds apart. And her parents. They just couldn't handle it.
How did they react?
Discomfort. Avoidance. Acting like she was home from band camp.
Seriously?
Yeah. Later, they even told people she'd been in Florence for 2 years, pretending Vietnam never happened.
And her father.
He told her point blank, "No one wants to hear these stories, Frankie." Sweet God. Legs blown off. Just shutting her down completely.
That denial from society, from the VA, from her own family, what did that represent?
It represented a massive societal failure. The VA telling her there were no women in Vietnam, dear,
Unbelievable.
and advising her to just forget about Vietnam, go home, fall in love again. It wasn't just ignorance. It was systemic neglect. It invalidated their entire experience.
Compounding the trauma.
Massively. Denying the reality of their service, delaying help for things like PTSD. It was devastating.
And this rejection, this isolation, it took a toll on Frankie.
A severe toll.
Yeah.
Mentally, emotionally. She started unraveling.
Nightmares.
Terrible ones. Burning flesh, holding a baby in my arms. Burning.
Mood swings.
Extreme. Banshee angry or bursting into tears, and she started self-medicating.
Alcohol. Pills.
Gin on the rocks? Diazepam Valium. Her behavior became erratic, unreliable.
And she lost her job.
Yes. Froze during surgery. Couldn't function as a nurse anymore.
And then the personal betrayal from Rye.
The final straw, perhaps. He returned home, a POW, but then dropped the bombshell.
I'm married. I was always married.
After telling her he wasn't engaged on R&R.
Exactly. A profound betrayal.
So she married someone else.
Yes, Henry. Described as a good man, stable, wanted a family. She married him despite still loving Rye.
But more heartbreak followed.
She got pregnant, but then had a miscarriage. And she connected it, internally at least, to Rye's betrayal, to all the emotional turmoil. It really shows the complex ways trauma impacted every part of life for these women veterans, doesn't it? Relationships, family.
Absolutely. Building a life after that kind of experience, especially when it's unacknowledged, was incredibly difficult.
But this is where things start to shift for Frankie, towards recovery.
Yes, thanks to her friends. Barb and Ethel staged an intervention.
Literally pulled her out of bed.
Pretty much. Get out of bed, Frank, or I'll throw you over my shoulder. Sometimes that's what it takes.
So she went into treatment.
A tough process. Withdrawal, group therapy, rap sessions, and individual therapy with Dr. Alden.
And he was helpful.
Critically so. He validated her feelings. Told her, nothing you feel is wrong or abnormal. You're allowed to be uniquely affected by your wartime experience.
That must have been huge.
You have nothing to be ashamed of. It directly addressed that deep shame she carried. Gone to war a patriot and come home a pariah.
Professional validation, finally, giving her permission to feel what she felt.
Exactly. A crucial step for so many veterans, finding a language for the pain, having it acknowledged.
And connecting with others who understood. That was key, too.
Immensely powerful. Barb, who seemed okay on the surface, admitted she also had nightmares. Red alerts, napalm.
Sharing that vulnerability.
It created this moment of real connection and healing. Reinforcing that idea. It helps sometimes to feel you're not alone.
That shared understanding is often the first step, isn't it, when society won't listen?
It truly is. Finding someone who gets it without judgment, that can be transformative. It normalizes the experience and creates a safe space.
And that solidarity led to something tangible.
Yes. Frankie and Barb moved to Montana, sold Frankie's place in Coronado.
And started a ranch.
Specifically for women veterans. A place for healing, for community.
What was their message?
Their flyer said it all. To the women of Vietnam, we lived through it over there. We can live through it here. Join us.
Powerful. And others joined them.
Yes. Like Donna, another nurse who'd served in Coochie. She came seeking help and stayed on, becoming a partner, even fighting to get nursing licenses reinstated for veterans who'd lost them.
Frankie's activism grew from there.
It did. She got involved with the Vietnam veterans against the war VVAW.
Even though it had its own issues.
Right. It was often sexist, dismissed women's roles, still pushing that there weren't women in NOM idea sometimes.
But she participated anyway.
Yes, in protests in D.C., witnessing things like Gold Star mothers being denied entry to Arlington Cemetery.
Outrageous.
And seeing veterans throwing their medals on the Capitol steps. That anger fueled her. The realization that the American government was lying about the war.
And she also worked with PWMAV families.
Yes, the League of PWMAA families.
Yeah.
Letter writing campaigns, wearing the bracelets.
To keep his memory alive.
Right. It was another way to fight for those who were forgotten, to speak truth to power, turning her own grief outwards.
This long journey seems to culminate at the Vietnam Women's Memorial dedication.
A really significant moment. In D.C., 1993, it brought Frankie, Barb, and Ethel together again, along with thousands of others.
What was the atmosphere like?
A sense of quiet reverence, the source says. Seeing male veterans, men who'd also faced hostility back home, marching alongside women veterans. A public acknowledgement, finally.
There was a specific encounter Frankie had.
Yeah, with a male veteran. He recognized her as a nurse, but still initially said there weren't women in Nam.
Even then.
But then he looked closer, really saw her and understood. Frankie saw his own scars, physical and emotional. The jagged jawline scar, the sadness in his eyes.
A moment of shared understanding.
Exactly. A recognition of shared enduring wounds, bridging that gap.
And seeing her reflection on the wall itself.
Powerful symbolism, her reflection superimposed over the names of the fallen, connecting the living and the dead, her survival, with their sacrifice.
And our parents were there too.
Yes. They brought a framed photo of Sinley, a moment of, perhaps, reconciliation, acknowledging the shared, painful history together.
It feels like a turning point, personally and collectively.
Definitely. Both public and private acknowledgement converging.
And this led Frankie to a final understanding.
A powerful one. That remembrance mattered. That despite all the pain, the war years, in some ways the best of my life. Because that's where she discovered her true self.
And she found her voice.
Yes. Committing to tell the story of her sisters, the women with whom she'd served, demanding honesty and truth.
Ending with that simple, powerful declaration.
We were there. Undeniable.
So bringing this all together, what's the core takeaway here? Frankie's story is just incredibly moving.
It really is. It's a testament to the strength, the resilience of these women, often hidden strength.
And it exposes the cost of war, not just on the battlefield, but back home. The silencing, the forgetting.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But it also shows the power of community, of speaking out, of demanding history, includes everyone.
So for you listening, what does this story prompt us to think about?
Well, connecting it more broadly, it raises a question, doesn't it? What are the unseen contributions, the overlooked stories maybe in your own life, or just in the histories you read or watch?
Stories waiting for acknowledgement.
Exactly. How can we, actively look for those silenced voices, amplify them, make sure the picture of the past is complete?
It encourages us to look beyond the usual headlines, the obvious narratives.
And ask that simple question, who else was there?